What if I told you that one single sentence, delivered with calm confidence, could make her stop mid-scroll, raise an eyebrow, and feel something she wasn't expecting? This isn't about looks, not money, not status. It's about resonance. The kind that makes her lean in, not out. The kind that lingers in her mind hours after you've walked away. See, most men, they try. Try to impress, try to entertain, try to be enough. But Stoic men, they don't try. They express, calmly, clearly, powerfully. Because they understand one thing. A grounded man doesn't perform for validation. He speaks, and the world adjusts. Today, I'm giving you 5 exact sentences, not pickup lines, not manipulation. These are psychologically potent phrases that shift the dynamic. They flip the frame, from chasing to attracting, from proving your worth to simply being the prize. Each phrase is rooted in emotional logic, designed to create polarity, curiosity, and connection. These aren't magic words. They're mirrors, reflecting the depth of your self-worth. And when used with the right tone, at the right moment, they cut through noise like a blade. So if you're tired of chasing, tired of overthinking every message, tired of being just another guy in her DMs, then this is for you. CTA. Hit subscribe if you're ready to stop chasing and start attracting through grounded energy and the power of just one sentence. You carry yourself differently. I respect that. There's a certain gravity in those words, not loud, not flamboyant, just steady. It's not a compliment you toss casually. It's a statement of observation, rooted in presence. You're not applauding her beauty, her outfit, or how she fits into a crowd. You're acknowledging how she moves through the world. That alone separates you from most. This phrase carries emotional weight because it sees beyond the obvious. Women are constantly told they're pretty, sexy, or hot. And while those words may be flattering in the moment, they're fleeting. They come and go like smoke. But telling a woman she carries herself differently, that doesn't fade. It lingers. It makes her pause, reflect, and wonder. What did he see that others haven't? That's the magnetism. You've disrupted the pattern. You're not chasing validation. You're offering recognition. And that's far more powerful. The genius of this phrase lies in its Stoic undertone. A Stoic man doesn't speak to please. He speaks to reflect what is true. When you say, "I respect that," you're not trying to impress. You're honoring her presence. You've seen something in her. Maybe it's the way she stays composed when others flinch. Maybe it's how she holds eye contact without trying to dominate. Maybe it's just how grounded she seems, not in a rush to prove, just existing with intention. This is not about making her feel special in a shallow sense. It's about showing that you're the kind of man who notices the essence, the subtleties, the unspoken strength. And that kind of man, he's rare. When should you use it? In a moment of quiet confidence, when she shares an unpopular opinion without flinching, when she doesn't chase attention but still commands the room, when she walks away from drama with grace. That's when it hits hardest. And when it lands, it doesn't feel rehearsed. It feels earned. Why does it work? Because women, like men, crave to be seen for who they are, not just how they look. And when you acknowledge that inner composure, that quiet fire, you separate yourself from the noise. You become the man who values more than surface. And in a world obsessed with appearances, that's powerful. Remember, speak less, observe more. Speak like a man who doesn't need to flatter, but chooses to recognize what others ignore. And when you say it, mean it. because a real woman will know the difference. Not everyone would have handled that the way you just did. It's a simple sentence, yet it lands with uncommon power. Why? Because it does what most men never think to do. Recognize emotional intelligence in real time. In a world where surface beauty is praised endlessly, what stands out is inner composure. Most men miss the moment when a woman exercises restraint instead of rage, or when she chooses class over conflict. They overlook the rare strength it takes to stay grounded, especially when provoked. But you didn't. You saw it. And more importantly, you named it. This phrase is more than a compliment. It's a mirror. It reflects back to her something deeply human, deeply earned, self-mastery. Say it when she handles tension with grace. Maybe she walks away from drama instead of feeding it. Say it when she shows compassion in a moment where anger would have been easier. Say it when she chooses integrity over impulse. That's when these words cut through the noise. You're not reacting to her looks or charisma. You're recognizing her discipline, her values, her ability to rise above. That's powerful. That's rare. And because it's rare, it resonates. Most women are used to being noticed for the external, but deeply crave to be seen for the internal. This phrase tells her, I see you. Not just the face you wear, but the choices you make. From a Stoic lens, this moment is gold. Stoicism teaches that true power is internal. It's found in restraint, in reason, in the ability to govern one's own mind and emotions. When you acknowledge her for that, you're not simping. You're witnessing virtue. That's not weak. That's strong. That's masculine. It's also attractive, not in the desperate pedestalizing way, but in the respectful, quietly confident way of a man who values substance. You're not chasing, you're observing. You're letting her know, I'm not moved by chaos. I'm drawn to calm. So the next time she handles a situation in a way that shows maturity, poise, or quiet strength, pause. Look her in the eyes. Let the silence do its job. Then say, not everyone would have handled that the way you just did. Watch what happens, because in a world full of noise, this is how real recognition echoes. Phrase 3. I'm drawn to women who can hold their own. This isn't a compliment. It's a filter, a quiet but deliberate shift in power. When you say, I'm drawn to women who can hold their own, you're not handing out approval. You're signaling your standards. You're not chasing validation. You're inviting depth. It's a phrase that doesn't flatter. It selects. This is where masculine polarity starts to sharpen. You're no longer in the role of the eager pursuer hoping to impress. Instead, you're the calm observer, watching, measuring, quietly deciding. And without saying it directly, you're raising a question in her mind. Does he see that in me? That question is the spark. Use this phrase at the right moment, when she challenges you playfully, doesn't back down in a debate, or asserts her opinion with quiet conviction. Maybe she calls out your bullshit with a smile, or holds her ground while still keeping it feminine. This is your moment to lean back, make eye contact, and say with steady presence, I'm drawn to women who can hold their own. No smirk, no validation, just quiet gravity. She'll feel it, that you're not reacting emotionally. You're observing her energy. She's not getting points for trying to please you. She's gaining your attention for being centered in her own frame. That's the difference. This phrase builds emotional tension because it's rooted in Stoic attraction. Never chase. Don't reward neediness. Instead, respond to strength. You're not pulled in by beauty or charm alone. You're pulled in by something deeper. emotional self-control, intelligence, grace under pressure. Most men try to win women over by pouring on approval, but this line does the opposite. It invites her to show up fully. It challenges her to rise into her own power without losing her feminine softness. And when she does, you don't gush, you acknowledge. This phrase isn't meant to impress her. It's meant to filter her, because you're not looking for attention. You're not looking for performance. You're looking for substance. And when you speak from that place, rooted, calm, unattached, she'll feel the pull without knowing why. She's not being chosen for trying. She's being seen for being. And that is magnetic. Phrase 4. You don't try to impress, that's what makes you impressive. There's a rare kind of magic in someone who simply is. No performance, no masks, no curated perfection. Just presence, raw, honest, and real. That's the kind of energy this phrase honors. You say this when she's laughing without filters, when she's in sweats on a slow Sunday, or when she shares something vulnerable without dressing it up. Maybe she's telling you a goofy story from her childhood. Maybe she's sipping tea in silence, eyes focused, heart at peace. In those moments, she's not trying to be anything. And that's exactly when she becomes unforgettable. You don't try to impress, that's what makes you impressive. It's more than just a compliment. It's a mirror. You're reflecting her essence back to her, not her makeup, not her clothes, not her resume, but the effortless way she shows up in the moment. You're noticing the power behind the surface, the quiet confidence that doesn't scream for attention because it doesn't need to. What makes this phrase powerful is its meta-awareness. It's not about what she says, but the energy underneath. You're not complimenting her for trying. You're admiring her for not needing to. And in a world that constantly pressures women to prove their worth through appearance, achievements, or charm, this is liberation. You become the one man she doesn't have to perform for. The emotional impact, it hits deep. You're telling her, I see you when you're not trying. And that version, that's the one I value the most. It gives her permission to exhale, to stop auditioning, to rest in your presence. And that's rare. Women crave that kind of safety, even if they don't say it out loud. From a Stoic lens, this is presence at its highest form. The Stoics valued stillness, simplicity, and being grounded in truth, not in the noise of approval-seeking. When you notice and affirm the beauty of someone who is simply being, you're showing her that presence is more powerful than performance. You remind her that real doesn't need to be loud to be felt. So, say this phrase when the world around her quiets down and she's just herself. No filters, no roles, just her. Let her know you see that, and you respect it. Because when a woman realizes she doesn't have to impress you to be cherished, she stops pretending. And when she stops pretending, that's when the real connection begins. There's a moment, not loud, not obvious, when someone lets their guard down. Maybe it's in the middle of a conversation. Maybe it's after a small laugh they didn't mean to let out. Or maybe it's when they say something real, something that costs them a little truth to share. And when that happens, most people miss it. They just keep talking. They smile, nod, or change the subject. But I don't. I watch. I listen. And when you shared that part of yourself, whether it was how your voice softened when you talked about your past, or the way you looked away after laughing like that, I felt something rare. That energy, I don't get that from many people, and I didn't say it to flatter you. I said it because it's true, because most people, they move through life like they're trying to be liked. They put on masks, Say the right thing. Stay safe. But you didn't. Not in that moment. You showed something real. And when I said, I don't get that energy from many people, you paused. Not because you didn't understand, but because a part of you was trying to figure out what it was about you that made me say it. What was it that I noticed? What part of you did I feel? And that's the tension, the beauty of mystery. Because now, you're not just being seen, you're being recognized. And recognition, it's dangerous, because it bypasses the surface and hits the soul. But here's the thing, I didn't react. I didn't rush in. I stayed calm, stoic, still. And that quiet gravity, it's what pulls you in deeper, because when someone sees you without needing anything from you, you start to wonder what else they see. Why this works. These phrases aren't some kind of magic trick. They're mirrors. They reflect something deeper. Your awareness, your presence, your ability to see clearly and respond with discernment. Most men talk to impress others, trying to prove something. Few speak with real purpose. The difference is huge. When you learn to speak from a place of emotional clarity and masculine calm, something shifts. Women don't just hear your words, they feel them. They lean in closer, they open up, and they start experiencing something subtle yet powerful. An unspoken connection they can't quite name but instinctively want to hold on to. This isn't manipulation. It's authenticity. It's presence. It's the quiet power of grounded masculinity. If this spoke to something inside you, something real and ready to grow, subscribe. Join the mission. The world needs more grounded men.